you have, a very different understanding than I'm sure a lot of people that are passionate about music have about this. You're like, I like this, and that's why I'm willing to work so hard at it. But you also have this underlying, knack for the business side of things.
Yeah.
And to follow that up, I guess, how much do you think, your knowledge of computers and computer software helps you in, making an original sound that a lot of people on SoundCloud are just pulling from somewhere else?
Well, I mean, you can see it in the insights, right? So to answer the question before, yes, technology has helped me, so much, and my background in computers, all that stuff has, I truly feel like I'm at an advantage with a computer science background.
I think that's, if you look at almost any industry, my mind usually goes straight to entertainment, but
right,
the people who change the game are the ones who oftentimes have not spent their whole life thinking about the industry that they're now in, right? They have other things, be it like looking at it from a business standpoint, but that's what you need to be successful, to become an outlier in industries, is you have to, exactly what you said, when you're making things more efficient. I think I assume a lot of people, if they're starting to DJ, they will look at it and kind of want to do things because that's what they've seen people do.
Yeah.
But if you don't need to do those, you're holding yourself back.
Right.
So you need to you always need to have somebody go in there and just change the perspective for everybody. Just literally tilt the camera, even just a little bit.
1 degree, yeah.
Exactly.
And that's, so a lot of my technique is really different too. I use a lot of remix effects. I use a lot of samples. I'm really sample heavy. I think it adds an element that just, can't be brought if you're not using them.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'll actually do sometimes, and I've been working on this a lot, I haven't debuted it yet, but you'll hear it in some of my newer mixes that are going to come out. I have an Akai MPD, which is it's a beat pad. It's got 16 buttons on it. You can hook it up to the DJ 1000 I use, which is just a controller for controlling the music and the fader and stuff. But you can actually map points to it to jump at certain points in the track. You can add samples, effects, remix tools. So I'm doing these mixes, practice them at home, just spamming shit and adding a different element to it. I'm excited to pump that out and just see, how different is my sound going to go from there. And there's actual tools for that made by Pioneer that kind of elevate that. There's also this debate about, so there's this tool called sync, right? It takes, so when you're DJing, there's one track and then another, and when you want to transition in, you have to do, it's called a beat match. So generally what you do is there's a lever on the side that tilts the BPM up and down. It's called the tempo slider. This is how I normally do it. I just say, okay, this one's at 126, and if this song's at 124, and when I load it in, that means I got to bring it down up 2, sorry. So I'll pull the tempo fader down, I'll match it at 126, I'll hit the Q button, which lets me hear the song before anyone else, while it's playing, and then I'll line it up, do the jog wheel adjusts, go from there. Sometimes, when it's really hard to do that, or the grid line, which lines up the transients of the bass and the melody and stuff, isn't lined up, I'll just press the sync button because I don't care about technique at that point. I just don't want to fuck the transition up, and I want other people to make it sound good.
So why would people not do that, though?
Because they think it loses the art of DJing, which is, in my opinion, asinine.
Yeah.
So if you think about the art of DJing, you really want to take shit back to the art of DJing, right? If we were so focused on, okay, what's the art of DJing? I'd be showing up to Kohl's with a full crate of vinyls because that's the best quality sound, and it's so authentic that I found it at a record shop while I'm just sitting there. Why wouldn't I put myself at an advantage and use a literal technology made to make a DJ's life easier?